Welcome, guys. It's Jessica, or Low Battery Mom. Today, we're going to be reviewing all of these devices that you see on your screen. These are all of my 9-year-old's gaming devices or entertainment devices. And I'm just going to give you my quick thoughts on each of these, just as a real life, everyday, tired, overly busy parent. And hopefully, it can help you decide where you want to invest your hard earned money. Also, quick editing note. I did notice as I was editing this footage that I'm not really looking at the camera. I do apologize for that. This is a new video setup. I will work on correcting that in the future to up my quality. But I really do hope that you stay around and listen to each one of these devices and my thoughts. And then at the end, we're also going to include a few sound clips with my son's thoughts as well. Thanks. All right. Hey, I'm Jessica. I am a mom who is tired with a low battery and who is into gaming. Myself and my children are both into gaming as well. And I thought today I would review a couple of gaming devices that my sons have used throughout the years and give you my thoughts just informally, mom to mom or mom to whoever's watching. And you can hopefully learn from some of my mistakes and maybe other devices I can recommend more strongly. Maybe I can save you a couple $100 because these things are not getting any cheaper. So just a little bit about myself. So I do work in software in my day job that is used in school settings. So I will tell you, just if you're looking for more educational devices more broadly, most educational software is either written for tablets, specifically iPads, or Google Chromebooks or PC devices. So in general, those are your safer bets there. But the rest of the time, we're only going to be really exploring like casual gaming things. And I have two sons. My oldest is 18 and he is nonverbal autistic. So he uses just one of the devices, but most of them, our review is going to be from the perspective of my 9-year-old. My 9-year-old is on the spectrum as well. He is a bit higher functioning. He also does have a visual impairment and is a cancer survivor. So he has gotten some chemo and will get probably some more chemo in the future as well. And so the devices have really helped support him throughout his journey. So they've been important in both of our rest time throughout that journey. So it's definitely been just the background information you might want to know. To be ranking each of these in 3 different tiers. So we have tier 1, we definitely got our money's worth on this device. Tier 2, it's okay, maybe, maybe not. Tier 3, can I return this and get my money back, please? Also, I acknowledge that we have way too many devices, guys. So if you want to comment that, totally do. That is some engagement and I'm hoping to get monetized. So hey, subscribe. But I do acknowledge that I have bought my kids way too many devices. So, all right, let's get going with the first device. All right, for our first device, we're going to talk about the iPads. I'm sure most of you guys are pretty familiar with iPads, but we're going to start with that. So an iPad will run you anywhere from around $349 to $1,000 plus. There's all different tiers of them, all the way up through iPad Pro. We generally just invest in the baseline iPad that tends to be around $349, or you can even get it on sale for $299 if you check the flyers at your local big box business store, and you can usually find a pretty good deal on these. When did we get these? I don't even remember. We've had these a long time, many different iPads, I'm sure, if my kids have broken a few. So the things that I like about these, or general to know, so let's start with the parent controls. So if you're already in the Apple ecosystem, then you may already be familiar, but you can add parent controls to their devices through your family account. So you can go into your family account, add a device, tell them your child's age, and it will automatically adjust things like the apps they can download, if they can buy things or not. You can set a screen time limit where it has to have a password for them to use it past that time. So all of those are things that I have used with my kids. I would recommend though, because my son is now 9, the 9-year-old, he definitely is old enough where he can figure out what the password is. And so I would recommend just physically picking up, only giving them access to the device when it's within the screen time you would like them to use, as well as using those locks, just because nothing beats the parental supervision of just physically having the device. So that's my recommendations there. If you have a really young child, you can even download videos to it and not give them access to the internet. So if you're not comfortable with them having access to the internet, which is understandable depending on their age, then you can also just download video content if you're wanting more of like an on-the-go entertainment system, or several games that you can download. And there's so many different types of apps and things you can download to iPads. So there are lots of apps where you can just lock it in a specific application when you hand it to them, and then they can't get out of that. But I would just be aware, when you give a kid an iPad, you're giving them just like a smartphone basically with a bigger screen. So they have access to the full internet unless you've provided a lot of content settings. And so I would encourage you to just have them use it in the same room, especially when they're new, because you just never know what they're going to run into. And also on the gamings on the iPad, so let's talk about that more specifically. The games that I remember back in my day when the iPhone first came out, you used to pay for the applications, and then you would kind of own that game, and then they could just play it. Well, now almost all the games are free to download, and then they just have these constant advertisements that want you to download even more games. And at least my 9-year-old, it just turns into this big loop of him then wanting another game, and then they all have microtransactions in them. So in my opinion, the quality of the games on the iPad tends to be a lot more junky and full of microtransactions. Did start his gaming journey on his iPad in Minecraft and not Fortnite. I can't remember the other one. I'm so sorry. But Minecraft, I remember initially, and all of those mine coins and the microtransactions with that. And then I'll talk as we get into other devices how I've kind of combated that. But I would say that one of my frustrations with the gaming on the iPad is just poor quality games, and then it's cheap to get in the door to start gaming, but then it almost becomes like a shopping experience for them to log into those gaming applications on here, where it just is constantly trying to sell them things. And I don't think that's great for their development, and it causes a lot of conflict, I feel like. So I've tried to really get away from gaming on the tablets. However, overall, the iPad, in my experience, I think it's a great all-in-one device for entertainment on the go, so they can watch videos. My 9-year-old has gotten really into watching gaming content on YouTube Kids. He watches a lot of Minecraft creators, and so I think that that's allowed him to dive deeper into his interests. And so I think overall it's still a really solid device. Also, as I mentioned, my day job, a lot of education apps are written really well for iPads, and even they have like tracing where if they're really young. So I still think it's a really solid device. It just all depends on the age of your child and what you're wanting to get done. So also, there are a lot of accessibility features available in iOS iPads specifically. As I mentioned, my 9-year-old has a visual impairment, so you can do a lot with the font colors, the contrast. They have great accessibility options, or even read aloud. So all of that, 2 thumbs up. Another pro is it's really good on the go, in the car. Now, then you might run into some internet issues, particularly if they're watching content. You think about like your smartphone without Wi-Fi. How useful is that? So you have to either pre-plan and download the content, or have access to the internet if you're going to have it on the go. But it's super portable. It's really easy to pull out if you're in a waiting room of a doctor's office, if you're going to be somewhere, at a family event for several hours and they may need a break. It's solid for all those things for sure. If you're getting more deeper into gaming, I might look elsewhere. Okay, so the cons. Some of the cons of the iPad, which I've kind of already jumped the gun on some of these, but let's fill in some missing holes of things just to be aware of with the iPad. If you do not set, lessons I have learned, if you do not set them up as their own user profile, when both of my sons were much younger, or my older son, as I mentioned, is nonverbal, I would just give him the iPad on my profile. Well, if you do that, all of your text and pictures and notifications and calls are going to go to that iPad, even if maybe they're with a family member and you're out of town. So just maybe be aware of that. So learn from my mistakes. So I would definitely set them up with their own profile. That just creates another family member in your account without it being a mirror image of your phone, which you don't want that. So let's see. Also, the parent controls can be a little annoying in my opinion. The preset controls with their age, sometimes I want to do things like download an app, even with I'm trying to do it, and it's making the parent controls really difficult for me to get that task done, but it's kind of preset for their age range. I'm sure there's a workaround that I am unaware of. If so, tell me down below. But I do find them a bit annoying at times. And also, I also find that things sometimes get through that I question, especially in some of like the gaming ads are pretty age inappropriate for children, I think. And like that still gets through, but then it's frustrating. So that is our review of the iPad, but overall, it definitely gets the worth our money. Oh, also my nonverbal son, I didn't talk as much about him, so let's just talk about his overall experience. He also loves his iPad, so as I mentioned, we just share an iPad, and he is still on my profile, but it really, the thing that's cool about the iPad with the nonverbal child, number one, they have some accessibility apps where you can have icons and it helps them communicate. So it has a board where it can have you can program it to anything you want, and then it says the name. So like TV, go for a car ride, some of their favorite foods. So that's great. Also, I think it just allowed me to get to know my older nonverbal son in a different way, because I can hear like his music interests change. You know, as you may know, if you have a nonverbal child or have been around one, sometimes the interests do get locked from a certain age. At least that's been my experience with my son. But also now that he's kind of getting that teenage hormonal broody sense, sometimes I'll hear him listening to like 90s grunge broody music, and I just think that that's so interesting. So it really, I just think allows them kind of explore themselves a little bit, especially with those accessibility features for kids that might need different support. So that's our review of the iPad. Definitely got our money's worth. Overall, solid purchase. Reminder, last night while you were sleeping, I rated each of your devices based on 3 different categories. So we have the first category, thumbs up, we got our money's worth. The second category, thumbs sideways, and it's just okay. And the third category, thumbs down, is can I get a refund? Can I get my money back? So it's kind of a waste of money. All right, so let's see if our ratings agree. I thought it would be fun to have my actual 9-year-old come in after each device and give his rating in the form of thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down. What do you think of the first device? Do you remember what the first device was?
iPad.
All right, and what is your ranking for this device? Thumbs sideways. Well, I gave it a thumbs up. I felt like we get our money's worth. What is your favorite thing about this device?
Well, you can download a lot of games on it and watch videos.
All right, so your favorite thing about the iPad is you can download a lot of games and watch videos. What's one thing you think it could do better?
Maybe work on this, storage.
Work on the storage. That is fair criticism. I didn't even talk about that in my review. Thank you so much. All right, so you heard it here first from the actual kid. He gives it a thumb sideways, and it's just all right. All right, we'll see you next time.